Hello and welcome back to Concert Critiques in Cars with Emily. So this concert was at Jiffy, Lube, Live, which I've never been to before, so this was a first for me, and not just in this series, just overall in life. I'd never been there before, so it was definitely an experience. And it was a dual headliner show, so Five Finger Death Punch went on first, and then Breaking Benjamin went on second as headliners, and Bad Wolves opened, and then Nothing More was the second opener. So the show started early because there were so many bands and they had two headliners. So getting there, oh boy. I thought I left enough time. I mean, granted, I did have to get gas, and again, obviously, I had GPSed it beforehand. It was supposed to take about an hour, 15 minutes without traffic. So I figured with traffic, it would take about 2 hours. Figured we'd be safe. And again, I had to get gas, so maybe that was my fault. I should have gone in before. But I figured the extra all of 10 minutes wouldn't have made that big of a deal. But apparently it did. It took over 2 hours to get there, and it was super frustrating, especially because at one point we were stuck in 27-minute backup because of an accident on the opposite side of the highway. So it's really frustrating because at least if it's on my side of the highway, I understand it, and I get that, you know, lanes have to be closed down for a little bit and stuff like that, but to be on the opposite side, it was really frustrating to just be sitting there in traffic when I knew that in 10 minutes the band was going to be starting. So we definitely missed at least 2 songs, possibly like 2.5. I'm pretty sure we probably came in at 2.5. But it was kind of okay, because when you parked, you could hear the band that was playing. And the first song that we pulled into was pretty heavy, so I was a little bit nervous about Bad Wolves because I thought they would be really heavy, and they ended up not being as heavy overall as I thought they were going to be, so that actually ended up working out pretty well. So the lead singer was awesome. He was really exciting and jumped around a lot, so that was really cool. At one point, like to transition to a slower song, he had told us about meeting a couple that was battling cancer together. They each had cancer and they were both like helping each other through it. So he dedicated the song to them, which I thought was really cool. Then of course they played. So their big hit right now is "Zombie," which is a Cranberries cover. So right before he played that song, he kind of talked about how he wanted to honor and how all the proceeds of that song will go to the lead singer of Cranberries, who recently passed away. So I thought that was cool. He asked the whole crowd to stand up, and they did, and they all stood, and it was kind of an awesome moment that, you know, all of these people could just kind of come together and get off their phones and be engaged in this one song. And he was actually really good. Like, his voice was really good. And on the radio, his voice is really good, so I was a little bit concerned that after playing a set live, his voice wouldn't have been as good, but it was really, the quality was good, so definitely that was an awesome song to see live, for sure. And they were really fun bands, so I would probably go see them again if they were opening or for someone else, or even playing a headliner. The next band was Nothing More. So I actually discovered Nothing More like 2 weeks ago because a song of theirs was on the radio, and didn't realize that I was going to see them until about 2 days ago, which has totally happened to me before. I've gotten into a band and then been like, oh wait, I'm actually going to see them, which is pretty awesome. So that was a really nice surprise. I wish I had had more time to listen to their stuff so I could have enjoyed them a little bit more, but to say to enjoy them a little bit more might be a stretch because they were so good. They blew me away. Like, I was a little disappointed because they didn't play the 2 songs I wanted them to play, and I thought maybe they would play at least one of them. They didn't. So that was like a little bit disappointing, but to be disappointed during their set was just nearly impossible. They were so good. The opening was awesome. So they came out to like a pre-recorded message, and I really even liked the message. Like, it was a cool concept. So they were talking about like how the only way you can convince somebody that the world isn't flat is to like ask them to like come with you to find the edge. So I kind of like that. I thought that was a cool little thing. And then the drummer was already out, so the bassist and the guitarist like come and jump up on these like blocks that were set up in the front of the stage, and then the singer comes out and jumps up onto the top of a drum. But it wasn't for the drummer's drum kit. It was like a 2-drum side kit on the side of the drums. I want to say it was like a snare and a tom, but I also am not a drum person, so please forgive me and don't judge me by my limited knowledge of drum names. Anyway, so that was cool. He just like literally jumped on top of the drum, so I was like, that's definitely different, and I wasn't expecting that, so I liked that. The first song they played had a really good balance of screaming and singing, so I really appreciated that, and the rest of their songs were really good, whether it was screaming or singing. And even like the third one, they kind of had like an auto-tune going on, like with screaming, so that was definitely different, and I really liked that. I thought that was a cool little twist on just rock in general. So that was kind of neat. And their sound was really good. You could hear everything, even the screaming parts. I was able to understand most of it, so that was pretty impressive. So then, okay, well, actually, let me say this first. So there were a couple songs in the middle that were kind of like a lull for me. I wasn't like super engrossed, but they still held my attention, so that's like a super good sign, right? The fact that I wasn't like really super into it, but I was still into it enough to be paying attention to the song, so that was awesome. And then what ended up happening was during one song, those two like random drums were actually on some sort of mechanism that allowed it to like turn vertically. And so the lead singer like jumps on top of these now vertical drums and starts like Robert DeLonging it, and is like pushing levers or pulling levers and pushing buttons and like making all these like cool sounds to make a song. And it was just like mind-blowing, because you're like, what is going on? Like, this is so unexpected, and it was really cool. It was a nice surprise, and I really love that they just like, they commanded your attention. They really did. And then right after that, the next song, all four of them did a percussion set, which was awesome because they actually like choreographed it. So the bassist and the guitarist like came up to the singer with drums, and they like flipped the drums in the air, and then the singer would hit them. So like, it was really cool. They really, like I just said, they commanded your attention. So I loved their set. I thought it was fantastic. Again, they didn't play the one or even one of the two songs I wanted them to play, but I definitely gonna go see them again. I hope they have a headlining tour soon, because I would just go see them. Nothing more. So good. Just fantastic set, fantastic sound, really energetic band, jumping all over the place, like random surprises. It was just really an excellent set. So then there's Five Finger Death Punch, and I honestly thought that Nothing More was going to steal the show and they were going to be my favorite, but let me tell you, Five Finger Death Punch definitely gave Nothing More a run for their money. They were so entertaining, and Five Finger Death Punch is a little bit more heavy than I generally tend to listen to, but it was like the perfect combo of cheesy, like rock band, what you would expect from a rock concert, and just like genuine, they love what they do and they're rockers. Like, it was just perfect. I mean, their outfits were great, their props were great. They had the lead singer had like a spine mic stand, so it was like a skull on top, and then like the spine went down, and he would like rest his feet on the hip bones. Like, it was just so good. The very first song, like the first like second of the show, they come out and the lead singer must have had like a pyrotechnic thing in his club, and just like pops off this like shot of like light, and there was fire and confetti. It was just really fantastic. It was so great. At one point they came out, it was just, the lead singer kept changing his shirts, which was pretty cool. It's just a really good, such a good set. So yeah, like the songs were definitely heavier than I normally like, but again, they did like a really nice job with it, and it was really very entertaining, and their sound was good. So even the songs I didn't know, it was super easy to understand what they were saying. A lot of it was like the choruses were fairly simple and catchy, so you could kind of bop along to it once you heard the first verse and the chorus. And again, like, this is like pretty heavy rock we're talking about here, and it was really good. The lead singer was super genuine. It was actually kind of almost like an emotional roller coaster at points, because at one song he dedicated it to anybody currently in or in active military. And he had he was like, have you served in the military? Raise your hand. Are you currently serving in the military? Raise your hand. And then he was like, no, keep your hands up, keep your hands up. And then he was like, okay, everyone around you, look around, and I want you to hug a person closest to you to thank them. So that was like super sweet, and I just really like appreciated the fact that he did that. And even afterwards he was like, see, aren't you glad you hugged instead of high-fived? So I thought that was kind of cool too, that he you know, purposely wanted it to be a hug and not just a handshake or a high five. So I thought that was cool. And fortunately there was someone right next to me, so I hugged her and said thank you. So it was cool. And then a couple songs later, so right, you're like, oh my god, I'm like emotional right now at this Five Finger Death Punch concert. This is crazy. So then like there's like another song in between, and then the next song he's like, so I do this every concert and I'm gonna explain why, and it's because when I was a kid I always wished that the band that I liked would bring me on stage. So he brings all these little kids and like is picking them out of the pit and is like, you know, come up on stage, and so all these kids come up on stage, and he was just so nice to them. He was hugging them and shaking hands and like taking bracelets off his wrists. And at one point he just stopped singing the song. He was like, I have nothing to give you guys anymore. So he like went over to the guitar thing or to one of the mics and picked up guitar picks and gave them out to the kids. And of course, again, you're like emotional. You're like, oh my god, this is so cute. He like genuinely cares about kids. And you're like, am I really tearing up at a Five Finger Death Punch concert? It was just, but it was so good because he was so genuine, and it was, you could tell he was just he's an awesome frontman. He talked a lot in between songs about how he went to rehab and was an alcoholic. So again, it was just a very real, genuine concert on top of just a crazy show. Like it was just, I mean, they were everywhere. He was running up and down the stage and jumping, and just, it was really incredible. And again, it was partially the props that definitely helped. Like it was super fun to see all of these like cool, interesting, like definite like heavy metal rock things, but then it was like super genuine, and he's like a super great guy who dealt with like this terrible affliction with alcohol and has overcome it and is like glad to be alive and share his music with people. Definitely go see them. I would have never thought, I was actually almost dreading that I had to see them, and I am so glad I went to see them. They were so good, and especially right after Nothing More, it was just like a 1-2 punch. It was like punch, get it? But it was so good. They just really blew me away, and if you ever get a chance to see them, go see them because they were just that good. And then after that, the other headliner, so they played for an hour 15 minutes just like Breaking Benjamin did. So Breaking Benjamin was the next headliner, and oh boy, let me tell you, if I was stopping here and giving this concert a score, I would probably give it a 9.5, because even though getting there was a big pain, once we got there, it was just that good. It was just that good. But then of course Breaking Benjamin comes on, and I was so excited to see them because, I mean, they're so good. It's Breaking Benjamin, like, hello. So they start playing, and I mean, the lead singer, it was, compared to the other two, it was kind of a boring set. The lead singer stood in his spot a lot. His spotlight must have been broken too, because the spotlight was shining on the other two band members way more than it was him, which was just weird. Unless maybe he just doesn't like spotlight. I don't know if anyone knows that. Please comment below. I would love to know that. That's a good little like tidbit of information. Oh, did you know the lead singer of Breaking Benjamin really doesn't like having a spotlight on him? Anyway, so their set was kind of boring just because we had seen two great sets, and it was hard because, you know, I love Breaking Benjamin's songs, so hearing those songs was super exciting to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's that song, yeah, they're playing that song. So that was fun, so that made that set fun, but really, compared to the other two, it was just, he basically stood in his spot, played guitar, and like they even had like a 2-tier set. They had like a mic on like a little bit of a ledge they had with like props, and they used it once. One time they used it. Like, I don't know. Sorry, my memory was full, so I'm actually just gonna make a separate video and finish rather than restart the video again. So anyway, Breaking Benjamin was just so disappointing. And listening to their songs was really exciting because I really wanted to hear their songs. I mean, I've never been to a Breaking Benjamin concert, so I was really excited. So what ended up happening was, at one point they brought kids onto the stage. So you're thinking like, all right, well, like, this is cool. They're like bringing people up. So for their last song, they decided to bring these people up. And like, even that was just kind of boring. It was like they didn't explain why they were bringing kids up. And instead of saying, like, picking kids out of the crowd and like being excited about it, he was like, no, you come here, you come here. So it just didn't seem very personable, or like, I don't know. I was unfortunately disappointed. And also on top of that, their sound wasn't very good. So even the songs I listened to hundreds of times back in the day, if I didn't know it pretty much by heart, I didn't know it. I also am pretty sure they didn't even play their new single. Like, I love Breaking Benjamin, and I really like wanted their show to be fantastic, but between Nothing More and Five Finger Death Punch, and then just a comparably very boring set, it was, I hate to say it, but it was a disappointment, at least a little bit. So yeah, like I said before, I would have given the show a 9.5, but I think I'm gonna go with a solid, I mean, they weren't that bad, so to like take off an entire point, I feel like is a lot. But so I think I'm gonna stick with a 9.0. Definitely go see Nothing More. I'm already following them on Twitter because I can't wait to see when they are headlining. And definitely go see Five Finger Death Punch. They were amazing. And I even forgot to mention that their background was a 4-piece huge skull in front of 2 baseball bats, like, that were made out of metal. It was just amazing. I mean, their set is just really cool. So yeah, I think between getting there, missing the first couple songs of Bad Wolves, and then just the unfortunate just disappointment of Breaking Benjamin, but then to counterbalance that, the amazing Nothing More set, and then the amazing Five Finger Death Punch set, which really caught me off guard. Again, it was just such a pleasant surprise. I'm gonna have to stick with my 9.0. Please, if you're at the show, comment, like, subscribe. If you weren't at the show, comment, let me know what you think. If you've ever seen them live before, if you haven't, if you wanted to. Yeah, so let me know. I'm always happy to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.